KSAT 12. The Nightbeat starts right now.
We begin with a show of solidarity. San Antonio City Hall lit up in the colors of the Ukrainian flag tonight. Mayor Ron Nirenberg taking to Twitter earlier today to say the city hopes for a swift and diplomatic end to all of it.
Among the many experiencing this crisis is a pregnant woman who moved to Ukraine from San Antonio. Mayor Nirenberg also shared a link to a nonprofit that helps preserve Ukrainian history and culture, and we also have that link on our website, KSAT.com.
The attack on Ukraine is escalating tonight. Russian troops expected to move in on the capital as soon as this evening.
And Ukraine's president is telling people there to armor with whatever means and burn down enemy tanks. Authorities handed out 18,000 weapons to civilians there. Men ages 18 to 60 are being ordered to stay and fight. In the meanwhile, Elisa Petrenko, a pregnant mother from San Antonio, is hoping to escape to Poland, and she's documenting her experience on Instagram, and her mother is also taking to social media. Listen.
We are beside ourselves. We've been up all night praying and crying.
Now, late today, the White House announcing the U.S. is joining the European Union in sanctioning Russia's president. It's a story that we will continue to develop on air and online at KSAT.com.
It is a recent troubling trend, child abuse cases that turn deadly. Two of those cases happened just weeks ago.
And tonight we're learning about another case where police say a toddler was starved to death back in August. Both his mother and stepmother are facing charges, and we're learning more details about a six-month-long investigation that ended with police arresting them. Patty Santos has the story.
Court records say there's video of the 4-year-old forced to drink hand sanitizer, then crying and waving his hands, saying his mouth was burning. Police say another video showed he was forced to eat breadcrumbs off the bathroom floor. Benjamin Cervera died in August. The medical examiner says he was starved to death. Tonight, his father, Brandon Cervera, turned himself into authorities. Stepmother Miranda Casares was arrested by Jordanton police, both charged with injury to a child. This follows the death of 2 other children this month at the alleged hands of their caretakers.
I say to the community, report to law enforcement if you have serious concerns about a child.
Child abuse investigator Carrie Wilcoxon is highly critical of the state system and says the community needs to put more pressure on Child Protective Services and a failing system.
What we need to do is we really need to improve the skills around triaging cases that don't need to be in the system so that a state investigator has the time and the resources to go and spend and focus on cases like this.
She's urging state and local lawmakers to put more funding towards child abuse prevention and education.
We are number 1 actually in the nation for increasing rates around child deaths.
And tonight, Child Protective Services tells us they had been involved with this family before Benjamin's death. They tell us the toddler's other siblings are under the state's watch right now. Steve, Stephania.
Thank you, Patty. New tonight, a scary situation outside a daycare facility in the medical center area. Police responding to a shots fired call outside Fredericksburg Road and Data Point. That's the area. It turns out a parent was going to pick up their child, had a gun in their vehicle. Police say at some point that gun went off, hitting a man in the leg while he was in that parking lot. No one else was hurt. Other family members had to actually eventually pick up that child. An unprovoked verbal assault. That's what San Antonio's police chief says happened after one of his officers hurled racist and sexist comments at a funeral home director. The chief fired Officer Lee Biegert last year. That didn't matter since an arbitrator now reversed that decision, giving him his job back. And Biegert is now expecting back pay. In a separate case, an arbitrator sided with Officer Tim Garcia, who was caught on body camera using a racial slur on a black man under arrest. Garcia also won his job back. The city and police union still discussing what changes, if any, will be made in a new contract when it comes to the disciplinary process.
Big changes tonight when it comes to masks. The Centers for Disease Control says that some of us can ditch them. It's the guidance based on 3 sets of data: 1, new cases; 2, new hospitalizations; and 3, hospital capacity. Those are the parameters. And based on those metrics, the CDC is designating levels for different counties. So they're either high, medium, or low. And in the low level, masks are no longer recommended. But of course, people who choose to wear one can still do so. So now let's look at how this is playing out locally. The CDC is placing Comal County in the low category, Kendall in the medium category, and you see Bear right there? Yep, it's in the high category. That means the CDC is still recommending that people in Bear County mask up indoors when they're in public. So now locally, let's take a look at these numbers, because Metro Health says that our COVID risk level is moderate but improving. For the past week, we've averaged 314 cases a day. Metro Health is also reporting 5 more deaths. And here's something else. There are more COVID patients in the hospital right now than what we saw exactly 2 months ago on Christmas Day. Tonight, 365 patients are in the hospital with COVID, and on Christmas Day, there were 202 patients.
A rise in child and adolescent mental health conditions being blamed on the pandemic. In 2021, a national emergency declared for children's mental health by several pediatric health organizations. The Night Team's Lee Waldman sat down with a local psychologist to discuss the rise and how parents can help their children.
A new CDC report shows a troubling trend. More young people are experiencing and needing treatment for mental health conditions.
It's a big, big jump. So we want to look at things such as stress.
Ann Esquivel is the founder and CEO of MindWorks. She works with kids ages 3 to 17. Firsthand, she's seen the increase.
I mean, we added 1 location in 2020, 2021, and now 2022. We opened up our biggest location in order to be able to meet the needs of the children in San Antonio.
CDC data shows the number of young adolescent women dealing with eating disorders has doubled, and those dealing with tic disorders has tripled during the pandemic. Depression, anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorders also rising.
All of the different types of behavioral and psychological issues that manifest with children when they are under stress.
Unfortunately, there's been a rise in self-harm and suicide.
But we look at that, and what is it tied to? It's tied to depression, anxiety, loneliness.
For parents, Esquivel says look for behavioral changes in your kids. Are they sleeping more or less? Are there any attitude shifts? It's key to talk with your children, to ask them not only how they are, but if there are any thoughts of self-harm.
Adults need to ask and be interested, need to be empathic, and to really believe their children when they're being told these things.
And act. While all of her offices have waiting lists to be seen,
but you call, and you call, and you call.
Don't let that deter you.
Esquivel says it's important that parents keep trying to take that step to help. She tells me there are nonprofits in our area. The Clarity Child Guidance Center is one that specializes in kids ages 3 to 17, and they'll help regardless of a family's financial situation. Lee Waldman, KSAT 12 News.
And now to some of the other top stories that we're watching tonight. A rescue mission leads to a fight with Bexar County deputies. Investigators suspect that the driver of this pickup was intoxicated before rolling over into a median on the southwest side of the county. This happened on I-35 near Shepherd Road. Deputies say they tried to help the driver, even though that person was combative. The scuffle ended when deputies tased the driver and then took him into custody. Now, there's an uptick in human smuggling cases in Bexar County, and we've seen 3 high-profile cases in just 3 weeks. An assistant special agent in charge at San Antonio's Homeland Security Investigations Office says that we're in a post-holidays uptick. Agents say that smugglers see San Antonio as a good dropping-off point, because from here, smugglers usually split off to other parts of Texas or even further into the country. And it's something that investigators keep watching. And now to the historic nomination to the Supreme Court. President Joe Biden officially nominating Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to be the next Supreme Court justice. Now, Jackson, a black woman, today spoke about how her father inspired her to become a lawyer.
Some of my earliest memories are of him sitting at the kitchen table, reading his law books. I watched him study, and he became my first professional role model.
If confirmed by the Senate, Jackson would be replacing longtime Justice Stephen Breyer, who is retiring. Jackson served as a clerk for Breyer in the past, and she currently serves on the D.C. Court of Appeals. And that's a look at your Nightbeat Newsflash.
Another great cold day today. We started off at 32, then only made it to 40 for the afternoon high temperature. Up to 45 Carrizo Springs. Cotulla made it to 46, but in the hill country, we were stuck in the 30s. When we wake up tomorrow morning, not just cold, but damp as well. We'll have some sprinkles and light showers. An indoor day tomorrow. We'll talk about the rest of the weekend, how much warmer it's going to get and when in just a little bit.
Thank you, Adam. The final weekend for the San Antonio Rodeo is upon us, and tonight several contenders taking on these big beasts. Bull riding is coming up.
Plus, new hope for an old building. One couple giving a gift that could change the lives of local veterans. And that's next on the Nightbeat. Welcome back. An old school is going to get new life. That is the hope after a couple gave a property to San Antonio Veterans Organization.
Yeah, and while the gift will bring hope to veterans, it could also stimulate the small town of Campbellton. It's southeast of Pleasanton, where the night team's Patty Santos picks up the story.
About an hour south of San Antonio sits Campbellton, population just under 500.
We're just a friendly little town. It's quiet, peaceful.
It's also now the future home of the first American GI Forum Veteran Retreat.
There's just unlimited potential for what we can use it.
Thank you.
Owners Sam and Susie Katara donated the former school in Campbellton and the roughly 3 acres of land on it to the veteran nonprofit.
I'm not going to see that building die. You know, things that aren't used fall apart.
There's someone else who can use it.
After the oil boom, the school was left vacant. After several failed attempts to repurpose it, the couple decided they wanted to donate it to someone who could do something good with it.
Our desires really is to provide a retreat location for veterans to come and improve their conditions, give them hope for the future.
Currently, American GI Forum provides housing, mental assistance, and other services to area veterans.
Some are homeless, some have had some traumatic times, and this gives us an opportunity to take them to this facility once we've repaired it and provide a retreat for them.
The new facility can house about 14 veterans, but the retreat is just the beginning of the many ways veteran nonprofits can collaborate.
The Qataris hope that the facility will help bring healing to veterans, but also bring new life to their dying town.
If there's something to kind of stimulate their excitement about their community, and things will kind of domino effect from it, I hope.
Martin Llamas, a Vietnam veteran and Campbellton resident, applauds the donation. He's glad the building he had a hand in building as a teen will make a comeback.
Maybe I can go sit at the door and greet the people.
Welcome them to Campbellton.
Welcome them to the big city of Campbellton.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
The big city of Campbellton. Well, the American GI Forum estimates it's going to take about $1 million to fix that property. Some donations have already started to come in. Now they hope to have the first phase of renovations done so veterans can start using it by this summer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It happened. Now, taking a live look outside. No, nothing like summer right now. We're getting a live look right now at City Hall, 36 degrees right now. And as we look forward to the weekend, we're going to see a little bit of a 50-50 situation.
Yeah, again, this is the City Hall, you know, with the Ukrainian colors of the colors of the Ukrainian flag on it. Mayor Ron Nirenberg talking about how this is a symbol of solidarity, San Antonio, with the people of Ukraine.
And he also tweeted out a link to a nonprofit that helps preserve Ukrainian culture. And we also have that link on our website. But now let's send things on over to Adam to tell us what's on tap for the rest of the weekend. So you're saying 50-50, right?
Yeah, 50-50 weekend. Saturday, the indoor day. Sunday will be the outdoor day. Cold and damp tomorrow. It's going to be more the same temperature-wise, but we're going to add some moisture and just dampness pretty much all day. It's not going to amount to a whole lot, unfortunately. We'll get into specifics in a moment. Sunshine will return eventually on Sunday, and temperatures do rebound by Sunday and into early next week. I mean, we'll be near 40 for the high temperature tomorrow afternoon. The warmest we'll get is about 40, but then by Sunday, add a little sunshine, we get up to 60 Monday, early next week, we're back near 70. But let's talk about the moisture out there. A little bit of light sprinkle and light shower activity ongoing, especially east of I-35 and east of I-37 there. You see Gonzales and parts of western Lavaca County, even into Wilson County and just clipping portions of Bexar County. This very, very light sprinkle and light rain activity. And this is going to continue to come and go and I think fill in just a little bit overnight and throughout the day tomorrow. Here's our futurecast. I think it has a good representation of what's going to happen, especially along and east of I-35. This dampness coming and going all night and then all day tomorrow, but also early tomorrow morning. In just some parts of the northern hill country, we could have a light glaze on some elevated surfaces. You know, the street signs, parked cars, stuff like that, backyard decks, lawn furniture. You could have that a little bit before and around sunrise. Otherwise, it's just going to be coming and going, little sprinkles and dampness periodically throughout the day, coming to an end by very early on Sunday morning. And actually, that clearing line is going to move in on Sunday, and I think we'll have sunshine by about the noon hour. As for rainfall potential, I wish I could say it would be better, but at least there's the possibility of about 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch. I think the best chance of that is going to be east of San Antonio and east of 281, but I think for the most part around town, around 1/10 of an inch around parts of Bexar County. And then rain chances fall off to nothing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, back to sunshine then. We have a little slight chance here as we get into the middle of next week by Wednesday. So not just damp tomorrow, but of course still continued cold. You look across the state, some 20s, 29 Abilene, Lubbock 25, 30s to near 40 elsewhere. The low clouds that we have in place, remember they act as a blanket so they don't really, well, they keep and prevent temperatures from falling off much at night. So we're not going to see a big cooling trend overnight. 35 now in Kerrville, 37 in San Antonio, Hondo's 39. By tomorrow morning, we'll just be a handful of degrees cooler. Kerrville about 31, Canyon Lake right around the freezing point, and 34 in San Antonio. But by the afternoon, you don't see much of an improvement. 30s in the hill country, elsewhere, right near 40 degrees, but into the mid 40s along the Rio Grande. That's where we'll have some slightly higher readings. But Helotes 39, Seguin 39 for a high, Bernie about 37. So we're going to feel the chill again tomorrow. A good indoor day. If you want a good excuse to maybe binge a show or light up the fireplace and read a book or something, hey, tomorrow's your day. North wind, by the way, 10 to 15, so you'll feel it periodically. And then Sunday, I think by noon, we'll have blue skies overhead again. 60 degrees the high temperature. And then when it's time to go back to work and school, we're closer to 70 degrees next week.
All right, I like your thinking, Adam. Tomorrow, you could just start the weekend with a nice cozy day in.
Sure, why not? Yeah, and the Spurs start the second half of their season with a familiar foe, kind of a throwback game.
Oh, yeah. This
old school red, white, and blue basketball that was even an unselled in the arena.
There sure was. No ice, man. But this was a high-scoring game. This is exactly like the early 70s. When we come back, the Spurs get a win in Washington. DeJounte gets another triple-double. We'll show you how they had to do it with double duty. High school basketball playoffs. Who's left standing? Coming up. Again, the second half of the Rodeo Road Trip tonight in Washington. Coach Pop only 3 games away from all-time wins record. DeJounte Murray to Jakob Poeltl to get things going. Back to Murray on the give and go for the bucket to tie the game at 16-all. Spurs on the fast break now. Murray with the assist. Poeltl with the jam to keep the game tied. Final seconds of the quarter. Lonnie Walker the forward attacking the rim, but the Spurs trail by 3 after 1. Spurs create some space just before the half. Murray going behind the back, knocks down the jumper, and Keldon Johnson pump fakes and connects on the 3 plus the foul. Spurs put up 45 points in the second quarter. They led by 4, 75-71 at the break. Spurs on fire to start the third. Johnson lines up the 3, knocks it down for a 10-point lead. Devin Vassell connects on the catch and shoot 3, and it's an 11-point lead. But 8 Spurs turnovers allow the Wizards to take the lead back until Lonnie Walker, the forward, drains the baseline jumper at the buzzer. Spurs up 1 going into the fourth. Poeltl, by the way, the nice dish to Murray for the bank shot. Spurs 9-0 run leads to a 6-point lead, but the Wizards' Contavious Caldwell-Pope manages to tie the game up with his layup. Spurs' final shot. Murray launches a three, but it misses the mark, so we go to overtime. Lonnie Walker putting the Spurs on top when he drives baseline, throw down the monster jam. He's dangerous from the outside, too. This three gives the Spurs a 1-point edge. Game tied at 1:45. Now Murray with another chance at a game winner, but he can't get it to drop. We go to double overtime. Jakob Poeltl recorded another double-double with 28 points, 11 boards. This rebound and putback puts the Spurs up by 1. Murray attacks, pulls up, gets the jumper off the glass to fall. He had another triple-double, 32 points, 14 assists, 13 boards, 16 total now as the Spurs hold on to win a wild one, 157-153 in double overtime. And now Pop just needs 2 more wins to make NBA history.
That's a great example of pounding the rock. He just kept playing, never gave in, made mistakes, did some good things, made some mistakes, did some good things.
I was a little tired, but when you're trying to win basketball games, there's no excuse. So, I fought through it, and, the team fought through it, and we came out with a huge team win.
All right, the Spurs win in Washington. Miami was playing tonight in New York, so now it's a race to get to Miami for tomorrow night's game at 7 o'clock. High school basketball playoffs and bull riding next. Let's begin our coverage of the high school basketball playoffs. The Harlan Hawks going up against the Clark Cougars to decide who gets to go to the regional championship tomorrow. The Cougars can move that ball. Natalie Huff to Aaliyah Roberson in the lane to Ariana Roberson under the hoop for the basket and a 6-point lead. Harlan responds. Layla Conley to Vivian Villa, who puts it up and in, and the Clark's lead is trimmed down to 2. Roberson wide open down low. Clark takes an 8-point lead into halftime, and they win it 51-41. Now let's see who the Cougars play in the regional finals tomorrow. 2 between Brennan and Steele. Nice come out charging to the early lead. Sydney Love crossing over the defense, pulls up for the jumper at the elbow. Love then bringing it on the defensive end. She creates the turnover and then now is going the other way, puts it up and in, and Steele is out to a 7-point lead, but the Bears roar back. Tyra Sotelo caps off an 8-0 run to take the lead. Addison James with a quick first step to blow by the defender to get to the hoop for the layup. It was all tied at 19 after 1, but the Steel Knights pull away to get the 15-point win, 71-56. Boys basketball tonight, Class 5A area around. Bernie Champion taking on Jefferson. Mustangs trying to rally in the fourth quarter. Joseph Rincon kicks it out to Aaron San Miguel for the 3. That makes it a 12-point game, but the Chargers come alive from distance, swinging it around the perimeter to Jesse Pert for a corner triple. That drops in. By the way, 4 Chargers finish in double figures, and Champion pulls away to win it 68-47. Next game on the court, also in Class 5A, Brackenridge taking on Veterans Memorial. Eagles strike first in the first quarter. Isaiah Cordona drives baseline, gets the floater to fall off the glass for an early 2-0 lead, but Veterans Memorial answers first. Devin McLeod kicks it back out to J.J. Thompson at the top of the arc. He drains a triple for a 1-point lead, and the Patriots take control with an 11-0 run. Taya Clay here, nice his way into the basket and banks it in. Veterans Memorial leads 18-6 after 1, and they take it by 28, 72-44. Bullfighters Chuck Swisher in the blue and Cody Webster in the red. Both earned their money tonight at the San Antonio Rodeo and won. Chuck had a very close call. Ernie Corson was on board Magnum, but watch what happens when he gets thrown. Chuck puts his life on the line when he steps in between the bull and Ernie, and he gets horned right there. Here's another look at what Swisher did. He almost turned into a disaster after Ernie is thrown. He steps between the bull and Corson right there, almost gets taken out, getting horned in his left, under his left arm. But here is your winner. By the way, he's okay. Your winner tonight is Trevor Kasser, who rode Throttle to 88. But watch what Cody Webster does again after Kasser has the score of the night. He does the same thing to keep that Cowboy safe. Isn't that amazing? Great job, Chuck and Cody, tonight at the San Antonio Rodeo. The final bull riding event will be tomorrow at 1 and again at 7. You don't want to get in that bull's way.
Yeah, that bull wanted a piece of something.
Even if you're a dummy.
A dummy.
Yes,
yeah.
A real dummy.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
34 tomorrow morning and a whopping 40 degrees by the afternoon. We just do this damp, cold weather all over again, but more dampness tomorrow. I mean, we'll have some off and on sprinkles and light showers adding up to about 1/10 of an inch. So nothing to write home about. Sunday, the sun comes back out. We'll make it up to 60 degrees. Then early next week on Monday, we're back to near 70 with a lot of sunshine.
All right, thank you. Well, that does it for the Night Beat. Don't forget that Good Morning San Antonio starts at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay warm. We'll see you on Monday.
See ya.